Our next speaker hardly needs an introduction. He has broad experience in labor. He has been a union member, has served as a steward, and in other local capacities. He began his career with CSEA in 1981 as a labor relations representative in the San Francisco and San Mateo areas. He began working in governmental relations in 1984, taking on the responsibilities of managing lobbying, political, and campaign activities for CSEA's members. He was appointed our 6th executive director in 2011. He sits on the Labor Coalition, which includes legislative, political representatives from public employee unions. He is also chair of Californians for Healthcare and Retirement Security. These coalitions represent over 1 million public employees in California on pension, healthcare, and labor issues. Now, as the executive director of the largest and best classified school employee union in the country, Sisters and Brothers, our own executive director, Dave Lowe.
Thank you, President Valdepena, members of the board, sisters and brothers. This past year was filled with challenges, and next year will be no less challenging. For the past several years, many have said that the Friedrichs and the Janus cases were like having the proverbial sword of Damocles hanging over organized labor. For those of you who have never heard of Damocles, Damocles was a courtier who flattered the king, King Dionysus, by telling him how fortunate he was to have such great power, authority, and riches. So tiring of Damocles, Dionysus offered to trade places with him for a day. Damocles quickly accepted and sat on the throne, where he was surrounded by all the trappings of royalty. And then he looked up, and what he saw was a sword hanging over his head, suspended by a single horsehair. And in fear of his life, Damocles immediately pleaded with King Dionysus to be let out of that deal. What Damocles did not understand is that with great power comes great responsibility. But unlike Damocles, CSEA did not view Janus or Friedrichs from a position of fear. Instead, President Valdepena, the CSEA board, CSEA members and staff prepared and took action. CSEA anticipated an adverse decision, and we took steps to be ready. We upgraded our membership application process, paid down our debts, and we converted service fee payers to members. We lobbied the legislature, and we convinced Governor Brown to sign legislation that states that whenever a public employer conducts a new employee orientation, we are guaranteed mandatory union access. By the time the Janus decision was issued, CSEA had reached our goal of over 91% membership. That brought CSEA membership to the highest in our 92-year history at over 241,000 members. In addition, CSEA delegates at last year's conference passed Resolution 1, the dues cap increase, allowing us to plan and budget for the impacts of Janus. Still, the day Janus was decided, CSEA immediately lost $7.2 million a year in revenue from the loss of fair share service fees. In addition, based on the membership losses experienced by unions in other states, CSEA is projecting an additional membership loss of 10,000 members a year for the next 3 years. This projects to an additional revenue loss of $9.9 million on top of the $7.2 million loss from service fee payers. a total loss of $17.1 million a year in our budget. But because of your leadership, your preparation and planning, we will present a budget this year that is balanced and contains no cuts in programs, training, services, or any benefits to members. This budget will have a healthy reserve, and this budget contains no CSEA staff cuts or layoffs. During the budget presentation, I will go into detail about how CSEA will not only financially survive, but we will thrive in a post-Janus world. I cannot emphasize enough how proud I am of CSEA leaders and staff, not only for everyone's work preparing for Janus, but for doing this while continuing to provide outstanding representation, bargaining, advocacy, and political action. The world did not stop because of Janus, and neither did CSEA. In June, CSEA engaged in primary elections for every state constitutional office, the Senate, the Assembly, and school board races. In 2 races alone, our opponents, the charter school millionaires, spent $23 million on Antonio Villaraigosa for governor and $7 million on Marshall Tuck for superintendent of public instruction. These are daunting numbers. $30 million. This is equal to half the entire CSEA annual budget. It is 20 times more than our annual total political action fund. CSEA joined with our allies to run a campaign designed to boost Gavin Newsom with progressive voters, but we are outspent 8-1. But as CSEA has proven over and over again, money isn't everything. As the saying goes, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's about the size of the fight in the dog. And as you know, on Election Day, Gavin Newsom won, and Antonio Villaraigosa failed to even make the runoff. Charter school millionaires not only spent $23 million to finish third, they spent $23 million pissing off Gavin Newsom. But these millionaires are not going away. They will be spending millions more to elect Marshall Tuck and to defeat Tony Thurmond in November. You will be hearing from Tony this week. We know that we already have a Betsy DeVos, Wall Street corporate privatizing voucher supporter in Washington, D.C., and now they want her clone, Marshall Tuck, here in California. We will not let that happen. Having a friend in the office of Superintendent of Public Instruction matters. Electing Fiona Ma Treasurer and re-electing Betty Yee Controller, where both will sit with Rob Fechner on the CalPERS board, that matters too. Why do you think our opponents are willing to spend tens of millions of dollars in these races? Because elections matter to them too. We will never be able to match their dollars, but we have a resource greater than their hoarded gold. We have you, our CSEA union activists and volunteers, so thank you for all of the work you do in our campaigns. Just as the lifeblood of our schools, CSEA volunteer leaders are the lifeblood of our union. Just imagine one day at school without classified employees. That's right. Half the students are absent because there was no school bus driver to transport them. The half that showed up had trouble getting in because there was nobody there to open the gates and unlock the doors. Students whose only hot and healthy meal of the day is a cafeteria breakfast, they're going to class hungry. Teachers are running around like chickens with their heads cut off. because there are no paraeducators to help with one-on-one tutoring and group lessons and preparing materials and team teaching. Revenues are not getting collected and bills are not getting paid because there are no accounting staff. Lawns are not mowed, leaks are not fixed. The school is littered with garbage. One day without a school administrator is a nuisance. One day without a teacher is a problem. One day without a classified employees is a disaster. And without you, our outstanding volunteer leaders, our union does not work either. CSEA has great staff, and I'm grateful every day for the labor relations, administrative, headquarters, and governmental relations staff who do such a wonderful job. In fact, let me just take a moment to thank all the staff for their fine work and dedication. All the staff here, please stand up and be recognized. But the lifeblood of our union are member leaders, and we need you today more than ever. The Trump administration, the Koch brothers, and others, anti-union billionaires, have pulled out all the stops in their efforts to crush labor unions. It's not just enough for them to be rich and powerful. They want to be so rich and so powerful that nobody can stand up or stop them. In Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, and across the nation, they have used their money and power to repeal collective bargaining rights, union dues deductions, and fair share fees. They have taken over state houses, legislatures, courts, and they've even elected a phony reality TV star president of the United States. We will not let them beat us in California, because we've seen this movie and we know how it ends. How many of you worked to defeat Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's special election attack in 2005? During that election, the No campaign branded teachers, nurses, and firefighters as the face of public employees. We contrasted Arnold Schwarzenegger, a Hollywood action hero, with real-life action heroes. And rightfully, many union members, including us, were sometimes hurt by being left off of that list. It bothered me because I know that real action heroes don't read words on a Hollywood script. Real action heroes keep order on a bus of unruly kids while navigating through the rain and avoiding drivers who are texting and talking on their phones. Real action heroes juggle students with head lice and disciplinary problems and angry parents and absentee principals with a smile on their face, and they keep the schools running every day. Real action heroes know which students are getting bullied on the playground, don't get fed over the weekend, or maybe have problems at home. And they know which students need a friend, a helping hand, or a kind word. And real action heroes go to work every day, drive their kids to practice, help them with their homework, cook dinner, and still find time to help their union brothers and sisters to be protected from unjust treatment. They walk precincts, they phone bank, and they sign up CSEA members. You, brothers and sisters, are our real action heroes, and we need you today more than ever. Everyone in this room holds the key to our success. Every one of us, whether we're staff or members, field or headquarters, labor relations representatives or office workers, needs to be first and foremost every day a union organizer. We need to talk to every new employee, and we need to convince them to join. And we need to engage every member who withdraws, and we need to convince them to come back and join the union. That's how we will survive. and thrive after Janus. And you are the frontline leaders who will make that happen. Let me close by saying thank you. As some of you know, I plan to retire in February 2019. I planned my retirement. I heard somebody say, yes. I planned my retirement so that I could complete some major goals, including stabilizing education funding, dealing with the Janus decision, electing a pro-labor governor, maintaining a strong pro-labor majority in the legislature, and creating a CSEA budget that is balanced not just today, but for decades to come. And by November, with your help, we will have checked every single one of those boxes. It has been my great privilege and pleasure to work side by side with CSEA members, leaders, and staff. When I started as a labor relations representative 37 years ago, we had 79,000 members. And as I said before, this year we set a record with over 241,000 members. When I started in governmental relations, many legislators actually referred to us as Little CSEA. Today, those legislators know that we're not only big CSEA, we are the only CSEA. Together, we have fought and won so many battles that I don't have the time to recount them here today. I can honestly say that not once have I ever woken up in the morning and not looked forward to going to work. Because I have worked with the best members, the best leaders, and the best staff in the entire labor movement. And I know that I'm leaving our union in great hands. Your hands. You have always been, and you will always be, my inspiration, my friends, my family, and my heroes. I may be retiring from CSEA, but I will never retire from the fight. Because as long as there are bullies in the schoolhouse or the White House, I'm in. As long as there are misogynists and homophobes and xenophobes or just plain anti-union assholes, I'm in. Because our fight is too important. We fight for equal rights, civil rights, immigrant rights, human rights, and union rights. And today, we're fighting for the soul of our country and the survival of the middle class. So yes, I'm in. I'm in today, I'm in today, I'm in tomorrow, and I'm in until we win real justice for all. Thank you, brothers and sisters.